Yes, here we go. This Saturday night, a massive, huge fight. Anthony Joshua versus Usyk, former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. Huge fight in London in front of 65,000 people. Absolutely buzzing for it. I feel recently boxing has been a little bit diluted with all these YouTubers fighting each other. David A, 1 minute on the beach with his mate, and then he's fighting him. Yeah, so many fights like that. You've got the arm wrestler fighting the former strongman. So yeah, really buzzing for this one. By the way, you all right, Shane?
Not too bad, Tomo. Yeah, like I say, absolutely just buzzing about this. Can't wait for this fight. It's just one of those. It's they're just not coming around often enough, are they? Do you mean there's so far and few between? It's just I can't wait for it to go off on the Saturday night. You think we've had a couple, haven't we? We've had like Wilder, Fury, the two. That's about it. We've not had anything. Do you mean for a while? Do you mean Pulev? Not really a big fight, was it? But I'll let you touch on it. I think you've got plenty to say about it. So what's your thoughts? What are you saying?
I think you're absolutely right. I think the only downside to the heavyweight division, we all love the heavyweight division for these big knockouts, for these big fights. However, they don't come around quick enough, obviously, because they're pay-per-view, so they can only do 2 a year. But with obviously COVID recently and everything else that goes on in boxing, obviously we was meant to get the Fury Wilder fight this year, but of course we all know what happened with that. That couldn't go through. So Fury's got to fight Wilder again in October. Again, should have been earlier in the year, but he had COVID. But yeah, that's why these fights, there is such a big build up, so much anticipation about what's going to happen. But yeah, mate, honestly, this fight Saturday, really looking forward to it. You've got two genuine, authentic fighters. And the only reason why I say that is because, again, you've had so many fights recently. It's YouTubers fighting each other. You've had Logan Paul fight Mayweather. You've had his brother fight someone else. You've had Holyfield fight recently. You've had the arm wrestler. So I feel like it's been a little bit diluted. So come Saturday night, you know, you can't get much better than Usyk. Arguably a pound per pound great. Massive test for Anthony Joshua. One that I expect him to get through. I think it could be a tough night for him. You know, Usyk, don't forget, undefeated, Olympic gold medalist, just like Anthony Joshua, never lost a fight, former cruiser, undisputed world champion. So yeah, massive fight for him, and he's a southpaw, so I think he's going to give him a few problems. But yeah, just buzzing for it, mate. Really excited. And I saw as well earlier on that Joshua's committed his future to Matchroom, so it looks like Eddie Hearn's going to be promoting him for the rest of his career. So yeah, that's all done and dusted now. Very interested to see what platform he fights on after this fight. He's not spoken about it yet. But yeah, understandably, he's only focusing on this fight Saturday. But yeah, really looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, I think it is the standout fight. It's like we've had fights, haven't we? But I think what the issue is, we haven't got a bunch of quality heavyweights all at the same time in the same division. So we're watching fights with Povetkin and Parker and Dylan White, Chisora. We're not getting that massive big fight, are we? They're just coming around, just not often enough. So for this one to come around now and finally come around, obviously great. It's here now. Obviously, we was all up and thinking, right, it's going to be Joshua Fury. That was all the big talk. The contract was signed apparently, and like everyone was buzzing for it. That was going to be the massive fight. And then, do you mean what fight could they bring out next? What was the next fight that could come out? And the Usyk fight, when you look at it on paper, it's going to be an awesome fight. You just think of the both of them. You've got Joshua is like 24 fights, 25 fights, 22 KOs. You've got Usyk is 18 fights. He's got 13 KOs. It's going to be a strategic fight. You look at the fight and you think, okay, Joshua's had fights with. When I've seen him fight recently, when I've seen him have trouble, with the likes of Parker, with Povetkin, people that could move and had a bit of pace about it. That's what I seem to think Joshua might have a little bit of trouble. Do you know what I mean? If he's got someone big and burly and is in front of him, a big fella, he can stalk him. It's quite easy for him to stalk. I just wonder, with Usyk's speed and everything, do you mean how he's going to deal with it? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I've got plenty to say on that. But before we go any further, if you are new to this channel, go down to the comments, put your prediction in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you think AJ is going to get the win, or you think it's going to be a tricky night for him. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Give the video a like, and of course, turn your notification bell on. So every time me and Army Man upload, you get a notification. But no, I think you're right. I think that Joshua is looking proper trim for this one. I think Usyk's very, very mobile, very nimble. He's a southpaw, could cause him a couple of problems. And you're right, you know, if Anthony Joshua's got a lump in front of him that's not that mobile, I think it's going to be an easy night's work. And again, he's a southpaw. I think it could be a tricky one for him. But again, he's looking trim. He's looking ready. And listening to him this week, he sounds proper focused, proper confident. And he didn't do too much on the open workout yesterday. Doesn't want to give too much away. But yeah, that's why it's such an intriguing fight. I really want him to get through it, but I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he lost. I don't expect him to. I expect him to win. When I think about breaking down the fight, I think early on it'd be a bit of a chess match. I think they just fill each other out for the first few rounds. I think Usyk, he's got to come forward. He's got to fight on the inside, and he's got to stay there as well. But when you've got Anthony Joshua, who's got that power, he's got that hand speed. He can put combinations together really well. I think it's a dangerous night for Usyk. But then, you know, we get to see if he is a proper heavyweight. You know, he's undefeated, southpaw, Olympic gold medalist, so he's got a great pedigree. But is he a proper heavyweight? I won't say he struggled with Derek Chisora, but he didn't look brilliant against him. And Derek, at one point, you know, early on, he did look pretty good. But Joshua is going to be, you know, a different kettle of fish, different level altogether. But yeah, mate, I'm just buzzing for it, so excited. But when I think about it, I think Joshua will find his jab, you know, going into the 4th, 5th, 6th round. And I wouldn't be surprised if he stopped him between 6 and 9. But if it goes a distance as well, wouldn't surprise me. But I do fancy AJ Saturday night. I really do.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the fights that you can actually go in and say it's could be a real 50-50. Do you mean, depending on how it turns out? And I think with Usyk, I think obviously his reach is 4 inches shorter than what AJ is, so he's got to get in there. But if you look at Usyk's work and his footwork, it's what sets him apart from the other cruiserweights. It's probably what set him apart from like the heavyweights out there at the minute. So he's got the speed to get in and get out.
Has he got the power though? Has he got the power?
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. I think he's got the right hand with the southpaw, so he's probably going to throw more jabs than what AJ will. He will be trying to get in there. It might be a case that it ends up going sort of late on. If it goes late on, it could go points. If you think of like AJ when he was fighting Ruiz, it was almost like he didn't want to get caught with anything. There's part of me that thinks that AJ doubts his own chin, maybe, because if you're going in against a little Mexican and you don't want to go toe to toe with him, there's something that tells me maybe there's something he's a bit wary. Right, he got caught by a couple of clubbing shots by Ruiz, and that might have put the sort of frightness on him in the second match where he was running around a bit. But I just think this fight is one of those. I think if AJ goes out and catches him, AJ's record for finishing people off is second to none. Do you mean if he gets you on the ropes and he catches you, then it will be like earth to Usyk. This is the heavyweight division. You've just been cut, and this is what it's like. So you just don't know how it's going to go. It's so 50-50. I love it. I love the fact that it's so 50-50. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love the fact we're talking about boxing again. You know, we do a lot of football on here as well. So if you like your football, again, you know, feel free to subscribe. We do a Monday night show. But I've got to say, I feel more passionate about boxing over the last few years. But you're right. You know, when you think of Joshua's last few fights, let's look at the Ruiz one when he lost. Before that, he was going in there, and when he got someone hurt, he would finish them off. I think that's one of his best attributes. However, he put Ruiz down in that fight, and then he went in to finish him, but got caught. And I think I don't know whether it's he doubts his own chin or the fact that because he's been put down now, I think naturally, you know, anyone is going to be a bit more wary. They don't want to just go in there swinging, even if they got their opponent hurt. You know, look at White against Povetkin last year. he was winning comfortably, keeping him on the end of the jab. It looked like it was going to be any minute he was going to stop him, or out of nowhere, Povetkin pulls out a wonder shot, you know, and we all know what happened. So yeah, for Joshua, going into the second Ruiz fight, stuck behind the jab, you know, just boxed and beat him in points, didn't really engage too much, and didn't really want to go all out for the knockout. And I know as fans, you know, we're sitting there going, oh, you know, just go and knock him out. But when you're AJ, you've got so much on the line. If you'd have lost that fight, it wouldn't have been game over for him, but it would have been a long road back. And obviously, of course, commercially, he's just not the asset he is if he's not a world champion. So yeah, mate, I'm just buzzing for this one. And you look at the people Joshua's fought, you know, White, Charles Martin, Eric Molina, Dominic Brazil, Klitschko, Ruiz, Pulev, and now goes into this fight against Usyk. You know, you got to take your hat off to him. You look at his record; he'll fight anyone. And yeah, just buzzing for it. So many people are on the fence about it. Spoke to someone earlier, you know, that I used to work with. You know, he's sort of he thinks Joshua's going to get the job done. I spoke to someone yesterday, thinks Usyk could beat him. You know, you watch interviews with Usyk's team, they're like, you know, he's uber confident, he's got the tools to beat him. But I think Joshua, if he gets hurt, we've seen it, he stays hurt. It takes him a long time to recover. So I think that, yeah, he's just got to stick behind his jab. But he's got to put it on Usyk. I think he's got to put him on the back foot, and when he gets the opportunity, put his combinations together and hurt him. And like you said earlier, let him know that he's in with the big boys now. Yeah,
I don't think that's the thing. I think with we know for sure that Usyk is not going to come out and try and blow Anthony Joshua away. He ain't got the tools to blow him away. So we know what Usyk's what he's about. We know he's going to sort of like work behind the jab. He's going to toy with Joshua. He's going to get in and out. He's not going to stand around and wait to get hit by AJ. We know that for sure. AJ, he's got a few things he could do. He can either say, right, I can put it on you, just the way Fury put it on Wilder. He can say, right, I'm going to come out and really give it you, see if you can stand there. Or I don't think that's what he's going to do. I think, like you say, he's going to be cagey for a couple of rounds. I think he's going to try and play behind that jab. But like I said, I think he's second to none when he gets someone hurt. And he's a cruiserweight. He's come up. There's not many cruiserweights that have come up and sort of been able to perform at heavyweight, bar Evander Holyfield. There's not that many cruiserweights that have come up and done the business. So, do you mean it's on the flip side of that coin? Like you've said, if AJ gets caught, it takes him a bit of time to recover. With the speed that Usyk's got for his combinations, he might not recover. Do you mean all of a sudden it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 and bosh, you're over. It's finished.
Yeah, arguably as well, Usyk's got quicker hands. You know, what's the difference? I think Joshua's 6'6", Usyk's 6'3", but he's a southpaw. And has Joshua been in with anyone that can box anywhere near as good as Usyk? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a brilliant fight, and yeah, just can't wait for it. Just another night of boxing. But that's what I was going to speak to you about as well. AJ, it's his last contracted fight with Sky. You know, he's got one fight left on Saturday. There's no talk at the moment about where he's going to go, but I'm really interested to see where he'll go from here.
So potentially it would be DAZN, wouldn't it? If there's anything about there, that's where I think they're the big players, aren't they? At the end of the day, Sky and DAZN, they're the ones. I can't see him going to like Showtime or American Network. Who knows? I don't think like that's Eddie Hearn's thing. Eddie Hearn's got too much in DAZN, isn't he, for that to happen? But
yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Eddie Hearn, obviously he wants him to go to DAZN. It's his platform. It's a global network as well, where you're going to be broadcasted all over the world. Sky, whether they will potentially link up with someone so AJ's fights can be broadcast all over the world, not really sure. I'm sure more will come out about that in next few weeks. But yeah, just buzzing, mate. So glad there's a big fight back on telly. You don't get much bigger than Anthony Joshua versus Usyk. Two brilliant fighters, both Olympic gold medalists. AJ's only got the one defeat. We're going to find out if Usyk's a proper heavyweight. But yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think with when listening to Anthony Joshua in a couple of his interviews, and he's pretty much he's quite honest with himself, and he's quite honest about what he goes about and what he thinks. And I often hear him say he has to rise to what comes in front of him. Do you mean if you put something in that's quality, then that's a test for him? And he says that's what he likes. He likes the test. He likes to know that if he's in with the top man and he can rise to that occasion and beat him, then that's what he's doing. And I think that's what he gets out of the game. Do you mean if he can go in and do that? I think if he does Usyk, then people will say at the minute you are number one above Fury.
You think so?
But then the Fury AJ thing, do you mean it's another kettle of fish? In some people's eyes, they will say, yeah, he will be the number one. For me, to be honest, to find out who's going to be the number one, I think AJ and Fury, obviously them two have got to fight. Once them two fight, we'll truly know who is the number one at the minute. But he can only do what's in front of him at the minute. So if he does Usyk, do you mean he's not shying away from anyone? He could have just ducked it and said, no, I'll wait for Fury. He could have took someone else. He's put himself in the line. Do you mean this is not an easy option for him? Definitely not an easy option.
No, you're right. He could have, he could have vacated the belt. But I think he needs to beat Usyk off. Goes without saying. I think he will. I want him to beat him because I don't want the Fury fight not to happen. Because of course, if he loses, there'll be a rematch clause in the contract, and then that won't happen till February, March next year. But fingers crossed he gets the win, and then fingers crossed Fury can beat Wilder in October, and then it can be an absolutely mental, mega huge fight next year between AJ and Fury.
Yeah, it will be quality. I'm buzzing about the fight. I'm just buzzing about the actual atmosphere of what's going to be there. I just really want to see what it's like with 60,000 people at that new Spurs stadium, because it just looks awesome. Do you mean it will just be the nuts? I think at the end of the day. So.
Well, I think at the moment, mate, I don't think the Tottenham team can create much of a buzz in there. So it'd be good to see an atmosphere at your stadium.
Well, I've heard a couple of people say that they don't get much trophies at the Tottenham Stadium, so I'm hoping it ain't a bad luck thing for AJ. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to win it there. Then maybe that will switch it for Spurs as well. He gets a good win there. That's our season. Bang, back on it.
Yeah, you're hoping so. But yeah, no, I've been listening to a few interviews with him as well. He was saying earlier, he's in a selfish sport because he's got to put himself first. He's got to, just isolate himself, go away, train hard, prepare for these mega fights. And he said, he's doing it for the 65,000 people that are going to be in the stadium on Saturday night. But yeah, would love to be there. But my friend tried to get tickets, but mate, they were literally gone more or less instantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, there's these videos, these little prediction videos, not going to be as long as the football ones, because of course we do the football reviews. But just wanted to, get on here, have a little chat about Saturday, see what we both think. I think he's gonna stop him late on. What's your prediction for the fight, mate?
I'm thinking
get off that fence with your army jacket and get on to prediction.
AJ does him. I think AJ might get him early, 4th, 5th round. I think he might just land it on him, and I think if he clubs him, then Usyk, he just won't know where he is. It'll be a different game for him once he gets hit by a proper heavyweight, and the stars and the purple flashes are in your eyes and you don't really know where you are. Then the next minute you're just looking up at the ref, and like the ref's just saying that. And I think that's what's going to happen by the 5th round.
Yeah, no, I think by the 5th round. Okay, so you're going 5th round. If I had to give a round, I think I'll go round 8.
Right.
It's very, very cagey early on, but I think as it goes on, it will chip away at him, and I reckon he'll stop him late.
And if we go by our football predictions, it's going to probably be completely wrong. It'll be a draw, won't it? It'll be a draw come the end.
Well, if we go by our football predictions, Usyk will KO him in the first round, matey. But no worries then, mate. Well, we've done our predictions. Buzzing for Saturday. Can't wait for it. Where are you watching it?
I'll be watching it here on Sky, obviously. Yeah. Doing the old pay-per-view. Up there watching it, and I'm just absolutely. I can't tell you how much I'm buzzing about the fight. It's like it's for a while I haven't had one like this. I was buzzing for the Wilder fights and Fury. That was buzzing for the Klitschko Joshua fight, and now I'm buzzing for this one. So there weren't many to buzz about in the last 5 years, to be honest. And this one is just is the nuts. The nuts.
Yeah, it's a huge fight, huge fight. All right, then, matey. Well, anything else you would like to add before we finish up?
Well, I think I'm all right, mate. I think I've covered all bases. Got the prediction in. Hope AJ wins. Do you mean?
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. I want an AJ win, and that will sort the weekend out.
Yeah, when AJ win, Fury to win in October, we'll do that fight nearer the time to make a mega fight next year. All right, then, matey. Well, if you're listening still, everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. We'd like to hear from your predictions. We'll get back to every single person, and we will see you on the next one.
Pleasure, Tomo. See you Monday.
See you later.